open to public, right?
Yes, I said this,
Okay.
Mm,
Okay. All
but
right.
I'm going to have
I
every.
will let you in anyway, MJ.
You know, I've had to, I saw your name and I was like, oh, let me log in. I don't have to know what it is. I see my friend, I'm gonna support her.
Oh, well, thank you.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to have like everybody on mute who is not a part of the interview, and then I'll open up to questions afterwards.
Perfect.
So that way, because if not, then what happens is that
People chime in. Oh,
people chime in, like the screen will come up, and then if I want to edit it later, then it's just this random person that shows up.
I will leave it in your capable hands, ma'am.
That's I appreciate you. I appreciate the faith in me. So we're gonna go ahead and kick this off.
Okay.
All right, all right. So welcome everyone. Have good evening. I am Dr. Kemi Adewetin, class of 2008, general dentist, and your HUCDAA secretary. The interviews that we're going to be conducted will feature alumni from Howard University College of Dentistry, all years, all specialties. Our purpose is to inspire connections and conversations with alumni while sharing their unique journeys in dentistry. This is an opportunity to network, exchange ideas, explore how we collectively shape the future of this profession while building a strong alumni community. Additionally, these interviews are to give future dentists motivation and encourage current students and the opportunity to seek out future colleagues for mentorship and possible job opportunities. Couple housekeeping items as always. We're located on 3 social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We also have our website, hucdalumni.com. On our website, we post information about our current officers and upcoming events. If you're not able to register for any events, no worries. We live stream this on YouTube, and they're available for playback. To join HUCDAA, to keep people like me gainfully employed. I mean, everything for me is volunteer, but stuff like, the Zoom, the constant contact, our fabulous I can't even say my words right now. Tiffany Gadsden. She is our administrator. That helps us. She keeps us in line and make sure everything is running smoothly. So with that being said, I have the honor of introducing one of my favorite dentists. I'm gonna say one of my favorite dentists because I got many. Before that, disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed during this interview are those of Dr. Kimberly Grady and Dr. Kemi Adewetin in our personal capacity. They do not reflect the official policy or position of the United States Air Force or United States Navy or Department of Defense or any government agency. If you know, you know. And so we have her rank, Lieutenant Colonel. That's for everybody that's 05 across boards. If you're Navy, it's Commander. Everybody else will be Lieutenant Colonel. Highly ranking up there, Black excellence. She has had a wealth of information. Um, Initially, she started off at Howard University. She graduated in 1996. She went to Meharry for her hospital dentistry residency. After that, she joined Bronx Lebanon, aka now Bronx Care. After that, she got her master's in public health from Boston University. She's also has certificates in geriatric teacher training fellowship and patient safety fellowship. She has worked at numerous duty stations in various locations. She's been in Sumter, South Carolina. She's been also on Shaw Air Force Base in South Carolina. Lakenheath, I think I'm saying
Lakenheath.
Lakenheath, um,
Lakenheath.
in England, over in the UK, across the pond. She's also been in Elmendorf. I think I got that right.
Mhm.
She's also been part of the infection control manager, and she has pretty much reviewed. She's had compliance and oversight with infection control protocols to ensure patient safety. So to make sure that all those little indicators that y'all have, it is hitting the right mark. Otherwise, we got a lot of problems with OSHA. We don't want that because that's fines. She's also been a squadron commander at Lackland, that's also in Texas. I mean, I could go on, but I think by the time I read all this, our time will be up. But just so you know, major accomplishments, outstanding performer, unit compliance inspection, woot, woot. And back in day, she was the junior clinical dentist of the year. So, with that being said, I would like to introduce everybody to Dr. Grady.
Hello, everybody. Um, as Kimmy said, I did have a very long Air Force dental career. Been in 24 months and 11 and 3 weeks. So in a couple weeks, I will have completed 25 years in the Air Force. Kimmy, do you want to go on ahead and get started?
Absolutely. All right. So, we got a question here, and we'll start with infection control.
Okay.
What basic infection control habits should every dental professional master early on?
Uh, well, the biggest one is hand hygiene. There's a right way and there's a wrong way to do it. And if you're in a, let's say I work in government clinics, so sometimes we follow different protocols. There's WHO guidance and then there's CDC guidance for hand hygiene. Make sure you understand that, how to do it, what does it mean. Um, Another thing is understand what guidance you're following. Um, Again, we are in the military, we are underneath hospitals, so we have a lot more guidance that we follow as opposed to those that work in a civilian dental clinic. You have to have strict adherence to those infection control protocols, not only to keep your patients safe, but your staff safe as well. There have been several instances where those were not followed with respect to dental unit water lines in California and Georgia, and over 90 children got sick with the microbacteria abscessins. Some children had to undergo multiple surgeries in order to heal. So infection control is important, and how to use PPE, how to don it, how to doff it. Again, it's to keep your staff safe so they don't inoculate themselves. And we just still having COVID issues, but there are other things that pop up from time to time that will get patients and staff sick. So I think those are probably the most important, some of the most important habits. And also have a sense of situational awareness, understanding what the actions you do can affect, how it affects the dental team, which we call the dental team, the provider, the technician, and the patient, safe at every step during the visit.
Mm, yes, wash your hands. Wash your hands. Let's see. How has your experience in the Air Force prepared you to manage infection control and patient safety at a national level?
Well, what it has done, it is taught me to think strategically and operate in high stakes, collaborative environments, and also allows me to be creative in finding ways to get to yes. My current job here is I am the dental infection prevention and control and patient safety liaison. We're going through a lot of change here in the military, and basically one of my big goals while I'm here is to develop guidance across the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. So that's taking three different cultures that operate differently in their respective spaces and put them all underneath one guidance and have it all work for everybody.
That is that's a lot of hats to wear. And I appreciate your guidance because I know that is not that you're having to constantly bring up your how the Air Force has it, and then you now have to translate it to how the Navy does it, so that way they're compliant. Like I think that is
The
You,
underlying principles in infection control is the same. It's those execution points
mm,
is where we're different. Like Navy, you all have the deck plate. I didn't know what a deck plate was until I started working with the Navy.
we got
Um,
squadron. What do you guys call it? A squadron?
um, it would just be the clinic, just the clinic. Um, it's the clinic. The way that the Air Force is, it's like flight squadron. Oh Lord, making me have to go back to my basic days. Flight squadron wing. Um, so yeah, no, deck plate is in Air Force. It's just clinic.
Okay. All right. I like that. What have you learned? Speaking of that, what have you learned about leading teams across different healthcare systems?
The important thing is to be flexible, have cultural competence. Most important is important to be a good listener and to be clear in your communication. Every healthcare system that you operate with has different strengths, but the biggest successes come from listening to their team, respecting the different perspectives, and trying to get everybody aligned towards a common goal. For me, it's getting them aligned within patient safety. Infection control in our organization, patient safety is on a higher rung. Infection control is a part of patient safety.
Wow. Good listener. Okay. Um, what advice do you have for dental students or young professionals who are interested in policy, public health, or infection control? Because you have a really unique pathway that got you to infection control. I mean, how do you go from geriatric dentistry to where you are right now?
Well, originally, when I was at Howard, I knew I did not want to be in private practice. I wanted to be in education. And my mentor, Dr. John Bailey, told me, if you're going to be in education, having a DDS is like having a high school diploma.
Right.
You need to get an additional degree if you're going to run a department or move up in the educational hierarchy. So I had an interest in special needs, and I found this fellowship program. It was a geriatric teacher training program, and they had different sites across the United States. And I went to Boston, and they covered my master's degree as well as I got to teach in the dental school at Boston University. We did a lot of things like home visits, and so I got a totally different perspective on dental care, caring for a different population, as opposed to what I was used to, which was folks coming into the dental clinic or into the hospital.
Is that program?
Um, I would have to Google it because I don't know. Things changed a lot um, in the past few months, so I don't know. But it was called the Geriatric Teacher Training Fellowship Program.
Definitely have to look that up myself. That sounds
Yep.
something that will give, current students and even future students an opportunity to branch their horizons and explore other opportunities to teach or even just to take care of our aging population.
Because there will be a lot of them.
Absolutely, because we are living long,
Yes. Hmm.
juice cleansing.
Yeah. Yeah. So from there, I wound up marrying into the Air Force and just kind of went through different clinical scenarios. And then I wound up being the compliance officer for triple AHC credentialing uh, test, for lack of a better description, for the hospital. And that kind of led me towards more sort doing more things with compliance. And then that led to infection control, which is also a huge thing with compliance. But anybody that's interested, I would say get involved at your local dental society levels. Get involved with your ADA, NDA, or find what organizations are out there that you would like to work with. If you want to be a pediatric dentist, find out where they're meeting. Go to the meetings, go meet other people that are doing what you want to do, so you can sit down, find those mentors, and develop that mentor to mentee relationship to give you guidance. Um, for us in infection control, there is one organization that is strictly for dental specific infection control, and that is the Association for Dental Safety. If you want to go into policy, you also need to understand some of the broader systems that impact oral health. Um, it's not just brushing and flossing and going twice a year. And don't be afraid to step up and lead or step out into situations that you have no clue. The way I got started in compliance is my supervisor came in my office and said, "Hey, we put your name up for the compliance position at the hospital. And so, yeah, you might be leaving the clinic." And my first question was, what is a compliance office? And then I got up there and began to understand what it was. Triple AHC is very similar to Joint Commission, I guess, which is kind of similar in the dental school world, like getting a CODA inspection, where they look at the programs and how you're operating, what your standard. Are you doing what you say you're supposed to? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? Are you doing what your guidelines tell you that you are supposed to be doing or have to do? So yeah, so get involved with those local or dental organizations, and I'm sure that you will find mentors that will bring you out into different areas that you were never aware of. I mean, we even have one person in the audience, Dr. MJ. She's the current president of the AADC, American Association of Dental Consultants. These are people who will go in and they review. I'm sorry, the lights went out. They go in and review dental plans. Only, there we go.
There you
Sorry
go.
about that. Um, they work with Medicaid, state Medicaid, and Medicare programs and things like that. MJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but she's the president of that organization. Um, so getting out from behind the chair exposes you to a bunch of different things. I mean, you can work for a lawyer as a consultant. Um, Medicaid and fraud cases. I mean, there's forensic dentistry. That is a special. You can get a master's degree in that as well. So there are lots of other opportunities other than pushing a handpiece.
It's true. Um,
Uh,
what sparked your initial interest in becoming a dentist? Since we're taking it back to mentorship and
mhm.
opportunity, and how did your time at university, Howard University, influence that path?
My interest in dentistry began as a teenager. I got braces and glasses in the same month. And once I got the braces off, I went straight from, cute toddler to ugly duckling phase,
Oh,
really bad.
you were,
I beg, I
I'm convinced that you were cute back in the day. I mean, you fine now,
not
but you were
not
cute
when
back in the
my not when my adult teeth came in. I begged my mother to take me to the dentist because my teeth were too big for my head. So, and I had a big old diastema. I used to be able to put lollipops there and hold them. So, Um, after I got my braces off, I increased the confidence. I was, happier with what I saw and I felt better. And I wanted to bring that type of transformation to other people. My Howard University experience instilled a sense of purpose, a sense of cultural pride, and a commitment to community health. The mentorships and the friendships that I've established at Howard and also via the alumni network for people that came after I did. They continue to inspire me today.
Yeah, there's nothing like the bond through the Gold Clinic that will inspire confidence. All right, but you've you've had an impressive career and you still have an impressive career across military and public health spaces. How did you know that you always pursue dentistry through the Air Force? I mean, we have other branches, but what particularly made you go, you know what? Air Force is going to be the way.
I married into the Air Force. The fiance at the time, he was active duty Air Force. I only had my Northeast Regional I had a license from Massachusetts. This is way back in 1998. He was stationed in South Carolina at that time. I can't remember if South Carolina had their own exam or they had the CERTA.
Oh,
There were no federal jobs available. So if a federal job, if you're at a federal position, they just need a United States license. Whereas if you were at that time, South Carolina would look at my Massachusetts license and say, you can't work here. I knew that we were going to go overseas. And if we went overseas, I knew I definitely would not be able to work. So I was like, I'll join the Air Force. I'll try it. I'm still trying it out 24 years later.
24.
Mhm.
That
Longer than you've been alive.
I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that. That's what we're gonna go
Mhm.
with. Let's see. Um, now, so I am losing. Okay, so you've served as an assistant professor and developed lectures for national audiences. What is your approach to teaching future dentists?
My approach, I try to make education practical, try to make it as engaging as I can and relevant. My background is in patient safety and infection prevention and control. A lot of times people, especially in the military, people don't understand why we do what we do. Um, you walk in, somebody with some rank on them says, you go do this, you salute smartly and you go do it in the military. Um, well, a lot of times people don't understand the why. And I think having that understanding of the why it's important that we do this helps people to get more buy-in. It's like, yeah, I have to do this thing. And it seems like a pain. And let's say my friends in private practice don't have to do this, but there's a reason. According the DoD, we are trying to become a highly reliable organization, similar to Intermountain Healthcare. We There's a lot of extra things that we do. We have a whole patient safety team up here that works with all the clinics around. We have clinics all around the world. um, we have with infection control, we have, I think it's three of us now, it's three of us, and we're working with over 350 different clinics around the world. And there are nuances to infection control in different places. Some countries you can get certain materials, other countries you can't. And you have to kind of be flexible, stay within the guidelines, but be flexible in what clinics use and things like that. So I like to tell stories to people in such that they can understand, there's textbook knowledge and then here's what happens in the real world. And I think that helps a lot. Um, that's kind of my approach to it.
So, I mean, you've worked across 70 plus clinics. What separates good infection prevention program from being a great one?
Oh, the biggest thing is buy-in.
Mm.
Buy-in from your staff. They are a part of the team. And if you're going to come in and have people do certain things, you need to understand the why. You have to have buy-in. And people should be confident enough and comfortable enough with when something goes wrong, when somebody tries to do, not intentionally, but somebody's doing the wrong thing, that they're able to speak up and say, hey, wait, time out. I think we have a problem. Let's take a break and regroup and go back and see what the issue is. Um, you have to have that. You also have to have very strong leadership support. As an infection preventionist, people don't like to see you coming. People get all in their feelings when they see you coming. So you have to be able to engage with the clinics and understand that they don't. hate you. They just get annoyed with what you're telling them. Um, I will tell people in a minute, look, I know you don't like me. I don't care. My job is to keep you off of CNN, make sure the patients and staff are safe. So commanders I'm my job is a bit of a paper tiger. I have no authority on anything. My job is to point you to the guidance, give you recommendations on how to fix whatever issue you're having. And a lot of times people will come at you like, well, when is the parent DHA gonna fix their stuff? And when can we get some money? I don't control any money. I can just tell you what the guidance says what we're supposed to be doing. And that's it. You can do with whatever you'd like with that information.
And for those
So,
not fluent in military jargon,
oh,
DHS,
sorry.
Defense
Defense
Health Agency.
Agency.
So they're the ones running the show when it comes to healthcare across the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, public health, not public health,
And
public health
yep, public health and NOAA.
and NOAA. So they're
Mhm.
the ones who are making sure that we're held accountable and make sure that we're performing at a high reliability organization, and making sure that we are spending efficiently and that
Yes.
we are hiring efficiently. If you
Yes.
know, you know.
Yes. There's some other things that separate a good infection prevention program from a great program. Um, as the dentist, as the leader in the dental organization, um, staff should be encouraged to get continuous education. And again, having that open communication with the staff is so important, and also have the ability and the humility to admit when a system has failed or is failing and work towards change. Because it's not a person. It's sometimes it's an entire system. James Reason has this thing called the Swiss cheese model. Um, and so if you take a piece of Swiss cheese and all the non-compliant areas are the holes in the Swiss cheese. When those if you take all the Swiss cheese and line the holes up, that's when harm gets to a patient. And when that happens, we don't go out and say, oh, you provider, you did wrong and you did this and you did that. Instead, it looks at a systems approach. What was going on in the system? Was everything operating correctly? Was staff trained correctly? Instead of blaming the provider. So that's kind of how we look at stuff. And you have to put your ego aside and say, okay, this unfortunate event happened, and what was not going correctly, and how do we make it so that we don't make that same mistake again.
Yeah. Wow. So with that being said, working for, Defense Health Agency, working with ADS, what are some what are how can private practitioners get involved and or stay informed? What are some good activities
um,
for that?
well, you can go to myads.org. um, And if you become a member, they will, you get newsletters. There are two big, ADS is the only dental specific infection control patient safety organization that I'm aware of. They're on an international level. They provide a boot camp every February. It's a week. It's kind of designed like a military boot camp. You go there. We have a saying in the military: you drink from the fire hose, kind of throw everything at you, but then you develop relationships with the people that are there, and you may find people that you can talk to, or you can ask a question or anything like that. ADS, in case you did not know, the CDC Oral Health Directorate was disbanded. So
Mm,
ADS is kind of stepping into the vacuum left behind by the CDC Oral Health. They're in the process. They have. They're in the process of, I forgot the name of it. It's a foundation that's going to do more like guidance, put out more dental specific guidance, like the CDC did from time to time. So Yeah, if you go on myads.org, you can see what the organization is about. And one of our alumni, Colonel Kelly, she's retired, Colonel retired, Kelly Mack is a member of that board as well.
Wow. Wow. I remember doing that boot camp when it was OSAP, and
Hmm.
I was definitely drinking from a fire hose, but there was so much that I thought I knew about infection control, and I felt that it was just the tip of the iceberg, and I had
Hmm.
so many levels to go to, but I was definitely um, impressed by the level of enthusiasm, not just by dentists, but by PhD holders, by um,
Hmm.
dental hygienists, and there were even they even allowed to have, I think at that point, there was a dental assistant who was really passionate about uh,
Hmm.
infection control. And I just knew, I said, you know what? I am so glad that they're doing that because I am going to record this so I can play this because it was coming at me full speed ahead, but I enjoyed it. I
Hmm.
took all the tidbits with me back to the clinic. And it's something that not only as a person who's in the military, but also as a civilian provider. I mean, this is the place where you can go to get all the information when it comes to infection control in your clinic and even uh, find out the latest and greatest technology or sterilization bags that will keep your clinic proficient or in the know-how. So
Hmm.
definitely ADS for sure, the boot camp. Definitely
Hmm.
worth, definitely worth doing for sure. And you get CE credits. So there you go.
Yep. You can earn, I believe it's up to 28 CE credits.
28?
Uh, I think it's
Oh,
up to
all up to.
28.
Oh,
Yes. Because we actually they have a special federal services session that non-federal service people can attend, and you get CE at the federal service session.
okay. Okay. Um, with all the experiences and the clinics that you've been a part of, what is one lesson from your career, your illustrious career, that you can always pass on to mentees?
Oh, I would say never underestimate the power of professionalism and preparation. You want to show up, you want to remain curious, and treat every single role, no matter how small, as a platform for excellence.
Remain curious. I like that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna write that one down. Remain curious. Okay.
Yeah, if you don't learn, you become complacent.
That's true. The hamster must stay on the wheel, otherwise,
Yes.
you everything you thought you've learned in those 4 years, you try to recall it, and it's like you're buffering. You're trying to figure out, let me pick this book up and figure out how can I get this information in? So I definitely agree with that. I mean, just because we got our DDS or DMD, learning never stops. This
Yes.
technology is always changing. Every single, almost monthly, there's always something new
Yes.
coming up.
There's always something new.
Always something new. So definitely continue to read and remain curious. I like that. I'm gonna use that.
Mhm.
That's a hashtag right there. Um, so what's next for you? Any projects, any publications, any goals on the horizon
Mhm.
outside of
The
retirement?
biggest one is retirement. I have about 4 more years before I retire. Um, But right now, I'm currently working on a collaborative effort focused on improving infection prevention and control training across the defense DHA, again, worldwide. Also working on opportunities to expand my work in policy development, and also, as I stated before, publishing practical guidelines for the DHA, for the members for our 350 clinics.
Mm, 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 mm. Um, what impact do you hope to leave on the dental profession, particularly in infection control and patient safety?
My hope is that on some level, I'm not expecting stuff to go national. I hope to elevate the standard of care by making infection control not just a requirement, because state law requires you to take, so many hours of CE and infection control. But I want it to make it, it should be a core value of our dental culture. Um, I hope that the systems that I leave behind are stronger. Our teams are empowered to speak up. And there's all around safer environments for both patients as well as staff.
Mm. Sometimes when it comes to infection control, hearing that phrase, the 10-day notice or hearing joint commissions or ADS, why would how can we make, or how can we not proceed? Let me take that back. How can we have it where infection control protocols are not as intimidating? What can we do to make sure that when they see it, it's not a complete, you know, blank out or just instilling fear? How can we make sure that when this comes about, everybody's excited? I get excited about infection control. I mean, I may be a weirdo, but I get excited about infection control. I like clean stuff. I really do when it
It's
comes to,
more than just cleaning stuff,
I
but
mean, it's more than cleaning stuff, but obviously it's making sure
I
that,
know.
keeping the bacterial load down, making sure that patients are not in harm's way, providers are not in harm's way. So how can we make this not seem so incredibly daunting to people?
Well, control is huge. It is so huge, and it touches everything from the water coming in to your clinic to the hazardous waste materials that go out of your clinic. It hits everything. And the best thing is to get in to know your guidelines and again, create that culture where you're constantly looking at, I call them systems, but different processes. In the military, we do rounding where leadership will go into different areas and they'll just randomly, they may ask somebody to pull up an IFU. They may take an instrument out of sterilization and see, was it really processed? They may ask the sterilization tech, show me your records from March 3rd, 2023. Do you have a record of that? Because for us, we have, again, we have stricter rules for things. Um, Doing that rounding, that one helps the leadership know where the non-compliant items are, and then they can go down to their infection preventionists, give them the support that they need so that when things go wrong, let's say they've practiced it already. Things like my sterilizer is gonna go, it goes out. What what am I supposed to do in a dental clinic? Is there another place where I can take my instruments and get reprocessed? Well, if you do that, then you're also getting into Department of Transportation rules. Um, it's just practice, 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 and constantly be walking around and looking at, well, how can I make this process better? How can I make it better for my staff to make it easier? That's probably the best way. I mean, I didn't understand a lot about, I mean, I did the fellowship, it was more so patient safety. So, a lot of the infection control stuff I learned. Um, I learned it on the ground. I had Kelly with me the first year. I learned what an infection control risk assessment was, how to run it, those types of things. It's just you're constantly looking at stuff, at processes, at your teams, and whatever new guidance has come out.
And
And for us in the military, we have things that we other departments take care of, like vaccines.
Mm.
Um, is all the staff immunized? Well, we have a department, a whole department that takes care of that and makes sure that that is done. Private practice, you're the one that has to worry about that. What if my patient gets injured? They get a needle stick. Where does the staff go? Do you have a healthcare facility close by that can do the proper occupational testing?
Yeah.
Because not every walk-in clinic has the capability to do that. So it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of practice. Like I said, going to ADS helped me a lot to make those connections with people that I can call them and be like, hey, this sounds really stupid. What do you think of this? And I mean, even amongst my DHA team here, I am probably the least experienced one, and I started this in 2017. So there are people that have been doing this since I graduated dental school. So
Just a little while back.
just a little while back.
A little while back. Well, another tip, another acronym I noticed that you threw out there, IFUs for our civilian bison. And
I'm sorry. I speak this
I know.
all day and I
I do.
forget.
I do. I sometimes, I'll get into the clinic and I say, hey, I need a sit rep. How long is it going to be?
Mm-hmm.
I need the step core. I need the
Yep.
SDS and anybody else, an outsider would just look and it just nod along like, yep,
Mm-hmm.
I have
Yep.
no idea. Let me Google this. But
Yes.
IQ
So
means instructions for use. So whenever you open that pack up of enhanced polishing points, there's a little thick piece of paper in there that's got like 25, 30 languages on there. That is your IFUs. If you decide to open up that bottle of integrity for, before you make that provisional, there's an insert in there that's cute. It's got like another 25, 30 languages in there. Those are your IFUs. Every package that you own that comes through the door comes with an instructions for use. And that's very important because on those packages, it tells you if you have any injuries because of this product or a product comes in your eye, it'll let you know who to call or what to rinse out with, how long to rinse for, and it'll tell you exactly how to use the product. I mean, basic
mhm.
instructions for use.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you got more things along for the IFUs outside of
Mm.
what I said.
Yeah. A lot of any medical device has to be cleared by the FDA. And one of the portions of the one of the rules, if you're a manufacturer and you're going to have something, they have to have very clear, detailed instructions on how to clean, disinfect, and reprocess um, your product as well. We have run into products that, for example, one product said only had instructions for gravity sterilizers, and we have Prevac sterilizers. Well, guess what? We can't, reached out to the manufacturer. They're like, what we have on the thing is what we have. So we had to get rid of those because there are no Prevac instructions for sterilizers. All kinds of crazy things. And then for those, you have to, if you have a product a medical device or product that does not have instructions, then you need to let the FDA know, and there's a process and a form for that. Um, because then the FDA will go to those manufacturers because they're required by law to put specific instructions.
IFUs, y'all, in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
One time for IFUs. But with that being said, I think we are wrapped with these questions.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoy this discussion because I do happen to like friction control. Not a lot. I mean, obviously you're here. I'm here when it comes to like I like it. You love it. I like it. I like it enough. I like it enough. But as always, I appreciate you coming on. I think this definitely offered not only a unique perspective in terms of dentistry, military dentistry, and just being able to find another outlet outside of the norm, what we see all the time, veneers, fillings, extractions, implants. But before those implants or fillings are done, we have to hit those wickets when it comes to infection control. So, if anything, this is something that I believe personally that each provider should know backwards and forwards, just like how we know our dentistry. So that way we're keeping ourselves compliant, keeping ourselves injury free, and our patients out of harm's way. So, truly appreciate you coming on. And I cannot wait to see who our next speaker is. I got a drum roll. I'm going to keep it under wraps, but hopefully, the said individual will come through next month. But as always, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you, not only as a dentist, but one of my favorite friends. One of my favorite Air Force officers, I'm not gonna let the branch, influence me too much. But, I like the Air Force. Listen, y'all have had my heart since Keesler Air Force Base, okay? But that's another story for another day.
Hmm.
Yes. Thank you so much. Anybody who wants to view this, I'll put a notice out there on Instagram and on Facebook and our YouTube. We'll have this recorded up for anybody who wants to view it at any time. So please, please, please look at our social medias to get more information on our next alumni who we'll be interviewing. So let me go ahead and pause this so we can chat. Good night, everyone. I'm gonna pause the stop recording.